Hi everybody, this is Jason with Eastern Wind Farm again, and today we're going to talk about composting. The method that we use is called slow composting. I know there's a lot of different methods and there's a lot of different ways people love to do it. Right now we use slow because we can put a bunch of stuff into our compost outside over the winter. We can let stuff sit for multiple years if we want to, and it really works well for us to have available compost kind of whenever we want with a very minimal amount of work put into it. So I'm going to show you my compost system I have right now and talk a little bit about what we did and ways that you can make one of your own. So if we look at here, one of my bins is about 3.5 feet wide by about 6 feet deep by about 4 feet high. You can put a lot of leaves and grass and kitchen scraps into a compost of this size. I have 4 of these bins in total. When I first made them, I thought it looked like a bunch of pony horse corrals, because they were so big. But it's worked out really well for us. So in this first bin, you can see I have my compost is all ready. I'll be cleaning this out the rest of the way so I can go put it into our potato area. And then this will be ready for new compost, new grasses, new brown matter, green matter, new kitchen scraps as we go forward. This second bin right here is kind of a collection of everything we've had over the winter and the very beginning of our leaf cleanup and things for the spring. As you can see, it is a steaming mess of randomness. Over time, this compresses down really well. It decomposes. If you give it many years, many months of time, it turns into that great compost. These other couple of bins down here are ones that have been sitting for a little while. We have currently some guinea pigs, and we use a lot of their guinea pigs. The wood chips for the brown matter and the manure works really well. Because they're herbivores, it breaks down really fast. You could use it directly on the garden if you want to, but we put it into our compost, let it sit for a while, and it mixes everything up again. One of the things that we have for the future is this is where our chicken coop is going to go. This is a project for later this year. Kind of the area that has all the dandelions in it now is where the chicken coop is. And I designed it this way so that the chicken coop deep mulch that we'll be doing, again for over winter, the deep mulch we'll be able to put right away into the compost over here and then let it sit for a while. As the chicken manure is pretty hot when it comes out of the chicken coops, you need to let it sit for a while, which fits right into our technique of letting it sit. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup and then I'll come back and explain what I'm going to do with these 2 bins right here. Doing a little voiceover as you watch me scoop some dirt in time-lapse. One of the things I forgot to mention when recording is that you don't need to make your compost area this big. When I build things, I tend to overdo it. If I had the space, I'd probably have made the area inside each bin even bigger. But you certainly don't need to. I would recommend at least 2 spaces that you can move your material back and forth. One bin would be for the compost that is ready to go, and the other is for the material that is still decomposing. If you made 2 bins that were each just 2 feet by 3 feet and a couple of feet high, that would work for a modest amount of yard and kitchen waste throughout the year. I did mine as we're avid gardeners and have a lot of green matter over the summer and a family of 4 that has a lot of kitchen scraps all year round. As you can see, I've been using a snow shovel for this. One of the things we have a lot of in the upper Midwest here is a lot of snow and a lot of snow shovels. It works really good for this compost. It's nice and light, and you can pick up quite a bit of it as you go. So these 2 bins here that have been kind of going for a while, they're not completely ready to go. Some of it's good compost, some of it on top still needs some work. We're not particularly careful about the exact mixtures of things. If you do a lot of online searching, you can see things like 30% brown matter or 30 parts brown matter to 1 part green matter. Kind of we go by smell. We put a lot of grass into these, we put a lot of kitchen scraps. All that's mostly green matter, but we also put a lot of leaves, if we have any hay. We got a lot of wood chips from our guinea pigs. We have mulch that we put into here. If we have to dig out a spot of sod, we'll just put that right in here. So we put lots of stuff into our compost without really worrying about it too much because we're using the log slow composting method. So I need to clean a little bit of these up put some of this top matter into my bin number 2, get it all kind of flattened out so it can compress down in the rain and ready to do its composting magic. So I'm going to take care of that right now. So I got a regular old pitchfork. Going to spread this around. Might get up there and stomp on it a little bit to get it all flattened out. But the goal is to get it to fill up the entire base kind of as flat as I can. Alright, now that we have the base fairly well flat, kind of compressed down a little bit, I'll go move some of the top layers of these other bins into this bin number 2 here, which will then let me have access to the compost that is ready to go in these other 2 bins. This is how I turn the bin. I really have to do it only one time a year, maybe 2. I take all the top stuff that's not ready, I put it into my bin that's been collecting material all winter long, and then I let it sit there for a while. Months, maybe next spring this will be ready. Maybe next fall this will be ready. Maybe in a couple of years it'll be ready. Doesn't really bother me that much because I've got multiple bins that I do at the same time. As you can see, I'm sort of tossing the compost as I go to try to see how far down things have decomposed. The top layer, being closest to the air, is going to be less decomposed than the stuff that's deeper down, where it's had a chance to get hot, and the faster microbes have been able to decompose it. So I just take this whole top layer off, put it into the bin, I'll flatten it again, I'll do the same thing for bin number 4 over here, and then I'll have access to all this really good, ready to go compost. So one of the things people might find gross, but I actually happen to enjoy, is playing in dirt. I find it super relaxing. Oftentimes when I am going to come outside to work in the garden, that's what I tell my family. I'm going to go play in the dirt for a while. Compost has a great feel to it, has a great smell to it. It has great microbes in it, has great worms in it, has all kinds of really healthy, regenerative qualities to it. When I'm working with it, I don't mind using my hands at all. You can always wash them, plus it gives a really good tactile sensation to the work you're doing. So again, I'll spread all this back out again. I'll move over bin number 4, and then we'll get ready to start using our compost in the garden. So for this bin right here that I think is ready to go, there's still some fiber in it and things that aren't quite ready. I'll take that out as I'm scooping it out to use in the garden. But for the most part, this is really good. Really nice, deep, rich, nice and black, doesn't smell bad at all compost. Has lots of good organic matter in it still for aeration. It's all really good to go. However, if you look at this one, when I started this process today, I thought this one was ready to go. But as I took the top layer out, you can still see there's quite a lot of woody pulp in here. It's not totally broken down. This is all the brown matter of the wood chips. It hasn't fully broken down yet. So I'll just leave this one. Maybe it'll be ready in the fall. Maybe it won't be ready till next spring. But with this bed over here, or this bin right here, I've got plenty of compost that I can use throughout the rest of the season. So I hope you've enjoyed this little discussion on cold or slow composting. I hope you subscribe, you like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.